potentially absolutely massive news, and we absolutely need to discuss this. This is huge. So this is an interview. Well, we're going to look at two different interviews, but the first interview is this. It's from Bloomberg. It's from Jason Schreier, obviously a world-renowned video game journalist, probably the best in the world, to be fair. And this is huge. So as ever, there's links to all of this stuff in the video description, but let's just go into this because I think this is massive. So Blizzard boss is optimistic about a more independent future under Xbox. The makers of Diablo, Warcraft, and Overwatch are hopeful that the new regime from Microsoft will restore the studio's sense of autonomy. Now, obviously, remember, for years and years and years and years, we've been sort of pining for the years where Blizzard were autonomous. Now, you have to remember, Blizzard have had a multitude of different owners, but I think Vivendi were quite hands-off with Blizzard. Now, Vivendi are a massive French media conglomerate. However, they were quite hands-off with Blizzard and sort of let them get on with their own thing. And that's where all of the great games from Blizzard came from. That's the World of Warcraft era, the StarCraft 2 era. Even StarCraft, I think, was part of that era. Obviously, the Overwatch era and all of that. So we, as fans, pine after that stuff because we see that as like an independent Blizzard, and that's what we want to see again. And of course, for a number of years, we've seen Activision Blizzard control Blizzard's output. Sort of, you know, the Blizzard devs and the game teams are sort of under the yoke of Activision Blizzard. A very quick rundown of like sort of how they operate is Blizzard is split into different teams. So for Overwatch, you've got T4. Team 4, that's the unit that works on the Overwatch game, and there's all the different teams for all the other games. These units are sort of independent, and then they'd report to sort of Blizzard management. The problem is Blizzard management then reports to Activision, and then Activision, Blizzard management, and then all of the extra stuff laid on top. And, you know, we've got to be honest, for a long time, Activision Blizzard as a company were just chasing as much revenue generation as possible, probably so Bobby gets really good-looking quarterly reports so he can sell the company for a shitload more money. And that's kind of what happened. Also, of course, it appeases stock holders. Now, this new world we're in, with Blizzard being owned by Microsoft, or Activision Blizzard King being owned by Microsoft, I was really hoping that they break off these elements to their and let them be their own thing. And it really looks like that's what's happening here. So Blizzard is going back to just being Blizzard, and it can focus on what it does best. Now, the other thing as well, they're kind of less exposed to shareholders because Microsoft is a frigging massive company. And the little, you know, gaming division, it sounds crazy to say that. It's not insignificant, but inside that division, you've got Blizzard, and it's like, hey, just get on with your own thing, guys. It really doesn't matter. This is really cool, and this is exactly what I wanted to hear. But anyway, let's go through the article. So, developers at Blizzard Entertainment, the maker of popular video game franchises such as Diablo, Warcraft, and Overwatch, nervously prepared for a big meeting with their new bosses. On October the 13th, after a protracted battle with regulators, Microsoft Corp had completed its $69 billion acquisition of the gaming studio's parent, Activision Blizzard Inc. 2 weeks later, Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft Xbox, and his lieutenants were inbound, or I should say lieutenants. I'm British, aren't I? On Blizzard's Warcraft team, leaders scrambled to compile a PowerPoint presentation, as they would have in days past, detailing their vision for the future and the products they had in development. But when Spencer arrived at Blizzard's campus in Irvine, California, he told them something pleasantly unexpected. He wasn't interested in talking business. He just wanted to check out their games and meet their staff. Before long, Spencer was battling orcs and trolls on his phone while playing the new mobile game, Warcraft Rumble. Afterwards, the company served barbecue outside, and Blizzard employees lined up for hours to ask questions and take selfies with Xbox executives. What they were trying to communicate to us was really wanting to get to know us, said John Haidt, general manager of the Warcraft franchise. We're not here
Good morning,
to tell
everybody.
you
Just
what
give me a
to
minute,
do.
I'll be on.
We're not coming in with a master plan. How can we help you? It was awesome. Wow. I mean, that's massive. That is massive. It's too early to know how Blizzard will ultimately change under Microsoft, but Spencer's visit helped ramp up a growing sense of optimism among Blizzard staff after years of disillusionment with their previous boss, Activision Blizzard Chief Executive Officer Bobby Kotick. In 2021, following his handling of a sexual misconduct lawsuit, close to 2,000 Activision Blizzard employees signed a petition calling for Kotick to step down. In October, when the Microsoft deal finally closed, Kotick announced that he would be leaving the company at the end of the year. Blizzard staffers are particularly hopeful that the new regime will restore the studio's sense of autonomy. In an interview, Blizzard president Mike Ybarra said that Spencer had indicated that he wants Blizzard to be more like the independent studio it once was. Amen to that. Church is in session or something to that description. That is exactly what we want to hear. That is absolutely music to my ears. That is incredible. And look what Ybarra says to it. I absolutely love that. Ybarra said, it motivates the teams. Yeah, because it gives them ownership back of what they've created and lets them create. If you get the best people together, you don't need massive teams. You just get them together. You put them in a room, you let them cook, they'll cook, and they'll give you greatness. That's what Blizzard used to do. And in recent years, they've not been doing that because they haven't been allowed to do that. So hopefully, Microsoft let them cook. Blizzard became part of Activision in 2008 and for years remained largely self-governing. But in the late 2010s, Kotick and his executives began pressuring the studio to cut costs, expand development teams, and produce games more quickly. The interference was unwelcome to company diehards. In 2018, the Blizzard co-founder and CEO Mike Morhaime stepped down. Many other veterans followed. So decent timeline there. And I think just to clarify what I said at the top of the video with like an Overwatch being this sort of product of free Blizzard. Titan was in development for a long, long time. But I guess the way I reason that in my head is sort of like 2016 is now 7.5 years ago. And that's a long time ago. And as the years rolled on and on and on, slowly but surely, Activision Blizzard started putting its claws into the game. You know, you got to remember, Overwatch used to have loot boxes are terrible, but it used to have a really, probably the best loot box system in the industry. It was very generous for what it gave you. Of course, yes, you still had to buy the game, and yes, there were still microtransactions in said game, which back in 2016 was like a crime. I know all games do that now. In fact, the latest thing is selling early access to games, which is like, it's crazy. In fact, Blizzard are still doing that with the Warcraft expansion. You literally get 3 days early access if you pay $100. Like, what the actual fuck is that, Blizzard? That is horrible. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is 2016 is a long time ago, and things have got progressively worse since then. And that's sort of the effect of Bobby Kotick and the relentless chase. Of revenue generation. And it has to be said, you know, this is a company that basically had the biggest game, or one of the biggest games, every single year in Call of Duty.
Thank you, Jazz. Appreciate that.
That's a lot to live up to.
Yeah, it's
for
muted.
The other game
it was
team,
muted.
You know, which
now
is probably was a big problem. Anyway,
I was talking some shit.
By contrast, over the past decade, Spencer has taken a largely hands-off approach to the dozens of game teams that Microsoft has purchased.
Thumbs up.
Ybarra said he expects the precedent to continue at Blizzard for the benefit of all. In the 2 years he has been in charge, Ybarra said he had to run straight from his mouth. He had to run many decisions up the chain of executives at Activision, slowing everything down. I mean, going to Phil and saying, "Hey, can we do this?" I think he would just look at me and go, "Run your studio," Ybarra said. I do think our decision making will be faster.
I love it.
We're again already seeing this with Overwatch, right? With the Aaron Keller IGN interview. I think he was a lot more open in that than he usually would have been.
Pro streamer, yeah.
Very PR
exactly.
washed. It would have been, can we say that? Can we not say that? You can't say this, you can say that. Anything that would have a material impact on the share price, you can't say. But like I said, now they're in Microsoft, which is a massive company. I don't think anything they could do.
I was showing my mom our discussion on the podcast yesterday, Jazz, and she really, really liked it. Thought it was a good conversation.
Would materially impact Microsoft's share price, to be honest, unless they started World War III.
I think JB just got it out this morning.
Okay. Before the acquisition, Blizzard hits, misses, and delays could significantly impact the share price of Activision. Moving forward, Blizzard will account for a much smaller slice of the $2.6 trillion Microsoft, a difference that, in theory, could ease the overall pressure on the studio and give Ybarra more leeway to share numbers and results with his employees.
There you go. Now it's not
Those kind of
blasting out
changes,
your
I
ears.
think, are going to increase transparency in an awesome way. And again, we've seen this already with Aaron Keller talking about transparency. You know, great. One frequent question among staff is whether Blizzard will now be allowed to experiment more freely. In recent years, Blizzard has increased the focus on billion-dollar franchises such as Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch. A narrower emphasis that was on full.
You know, maybe we should
display
try out our new
BlizzCon convention in Anaheim, California. Meanwhile, both fans and employees have lamented the lack of attention for beloved and yet less successful games such as the long dormant StarCraft. Ybarra said that on the heels of the acquisition, he still intends to have big teams working on the largest franchises, but he is also open to less mainstream projects, including a possible return for StarCraft, which is big news. Under Kotick, many Blizzard staff members with experience developing real-time strategy games left the company. So if the franchise does return, Ybarra hinted that the next iteration could be in a different genre altogether.
I need to remember to update my Uberview show timer for my CloudBot, so it shows the latest show. Yeah, I'm on Spotify. I follow it on Spotify, so it just shows up in my new episodes.
So the thing with StarCraft is, yeah, everyone left. I mean, I think Stormgate is one of the games that's being made by ex-StarCraft devs. Basically, all of the cream of the crop RTS developers left because Bobby Kotick says, well, this isn't a billion-dollar franchise. I don't want to, we're not going to work on this. In fact, I want you to go and supplement the Warcraft team or the Overwatch team. Imagine being a developer of StarCraft, being told, go away and make some cosmetics or something. It's probably not that like puerile, but it's the same kind of thing. So these people leave the studio. This obviously means that, you know, you lose talent. And over a number of years now, Blizzard has just been bleeding top-level talent because it's been...
Yeah, I have my cloud bot advertised
this will take time
on my streams every so often. That's awesome, dude.
Is there was the...
I should do that. I need to get better. I need to get all my links set up and for all that. Been really good about getting my own links, but not that one.
Like, make a planet-side game, Blizzard. Do it! Do it! Okay, at the moment, Spencer's broader vision for gaming revolves around the Xbox Game Pass, a subscription service in which users pay a monthly fee for access to a catalog of games. At Microsoft, the focus on a broad subscription offering can greatly influence what kinds of projects are valued. Developers can help bolster Game Pass with titles that strongly appeal to a particular demographic, even if they don't sell millions of copies to the masses. Yet another potentially major change for everyone at Blizzard. Yeah, and another reason why a StarCraft game would be acceptable. I mean, this is why Age of Empires has basically been developed.
Really brought me a burrito.
It's not a billion-dollar franchise, but it doesn't matter. They can just add it to Game Pass. Ybarra, who
What
spent
did you
more
get
than
me,
2
babe?
decades at Microsoft before joining Blizzard in 2019.
What burrito did you get me? I hope not. Boys, I'll be right back. Stream's gonna shut off for a little while. I'll probably be back this afternoon. I got a little bit of emergency I had to deal with. Love you guys. Thank you, Jazz, for coming out. We'll continue. We'll continue with the debate in a little while. Nothing bad. Just I gotta go take care of some